All right. Good evening, everybody. Is that too loud or just fine? We're good? No echo? Okay. Thank you all for coming. And feels kind of like I'm lecturing from a college podium here. So I hope everybody has their notes because there's going to be a test at the end. So um, be that as it may, just want to take this opportunity to thank our city staff, our city manager. And, over the past couple of years, it's been really encouraging to get, an up close view that these guys get up every day and they really strive to make everybody's life better. And they get up, they serve the citizens of our community. And just, hats off to you guys. You guys are fantastic professionals. And you know, just can't tell you how much positive feedback I receive out of all you guys, and we certainly appreciate it. And I know our citizens certainly appreciate that as well. So thank you guys. Um, so just kind of wanted to start off here with, um, so it seems like I'm going out. Is everybody okay? I guess you let me know if you have a problem. All right. So just kind of wanted to highlight the Imagine Kennedale 2015 and 2025 community survey, and just wanted to highlight that a little bit. And so basically the residents of the city shared their thoughts, their hopes, their ideas for a better Kennedale, what's working well, what's not working well, et cetera, et cetera. And kind of across the board, both of these things people want generally, as people everywhere want, a relaxed and safe environment, a great quality of life, better image and destination location, better recreational opportunities, more professional services and opportunities, an innovative and creative community, and improved infrastructure. And I think as we go through this, you guys will see just how much work has been done for that. And I think probably one of the biggest complaints that we get, I think our council members get, is when are you going to fix my road? When are you going to fix my road, right? Is that fair? We get that all the time. And we've got a list in here just how many roads that we've actually worked on over the past several years. So we do hear you, and we do take that to heart. So um, just again, highlighting the community survey results. Obviously, the responses, 5 being the highest, indicate that the perceptions of Kennedale are generally most positive when respondents evaluate the city as a place to live, place to raise a family, place to retire, etc. And you can kind of see the survey results were obviously pretty high. And how many did we have take the survey? That number escapes me. About 700 folks, 700 respondents. So the pretty good amount there. And as you can see, the perception of the city is relatively high across the board. So some more thoughts on the survey here. Obviously show a clear distinction between the perceptions of the core services, day-to-day infrastructure. Obviously, public safety, fire, EMS, library consistently emerge as strengths, characterized by high satisfaction, strong personal trust, and frequent positive firsthand experience. In contrast, that satisfaction declines a little bit, towards the mobility infrastructure area. And one thing I think that since we've lived here for almost 6 years now, and going back, is that people want more walkability, want walking trails, more community activities, and as you can see, those are being addressed even as we speak. So moving on down the list. Obviously better understanding community preferences for recreational programming, athletic opportunities. Participants were asked to identify the types of sports, recreation activities they'd most like to see expanded or supported in Kennedale. And folks reflect obviously an interest in structured athletics, broader recreational opportunities that support health, wellness, and social connections across numerous age groups. And obviously one of the big issues, it seems like for going back a long time, is the ball fields. And certainly your council has acted on that. The citizens approved a bond, and the council and city staff have a plan in the works reconstructing those ball fields. Obviously, I do want to give a shout out to the YMCA. I don't know how many, I think most people realize now that the YMCA is uh, in Kennedale, offering programs, offering activities, and super proud of our city manager for making that happen. So hats off to you again for that. So, sir. And well, I do before I mentioned pickleball is apparently all the rage now. Anybody in here play pickleball? No, 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 no. Nobody? It's funny because every time there you go. Well, I mean, it's like every time I talk to somebody, like, yeah, pickleball, pickleball, and I've not tried it out yet, but it's we've got pickleball courts coming in the future, right? Yes, sir. All right, all right. Um, so again, some of our community objectives, and this is tying from Imagine Kennedale 2015 as well as our 2025 community surveys. Obviously, one of the areas, and I know probably had conversations with everybody in this room, is redeveloping the area along Interstate 20, the Oakcrest neighborhood. And so obviously, it's not lost on your council, it's not lost on your city staff it's maybe not the most pretty thing to look at times. But obviously our plan in the works. The EDC has purchased three of the salvage yards, including Big Al's, Honda Heaven, and brought in Beard's Towing and Frontier Waste Solutions as steps towards this goal. And I think it's okay to mention that we do have a dog park in the works coming up in this area as well, with ideas of developing this area. So obviously, this is something that our city manager, city staff have taken into consideration, something that they're working very hard on. And it's something that in response to our citizens' requests as well. So additionally, one of the things is one of our community objectives, evaluating floodplains for the construction of multi-purpose trails. And so obviously, one thing that's big on everybody's minds, they want walking trails, they want safe places to walk, and that's something obviously that's in the work as well with connecting these areas to Sonora Park and even further. And so obviously with the idea examining opportunities for new development where natural connections can be made to trails through floodplain corridors connecting each neighborhood to another, and plan into the design of new neighborhoods, trailhead connections to the full trail system, obviously being cognizant of the floodplain areas, not constructing things that would cause issues in those floodplains. So. Additionally, one of the big things, community objectives, one of the big things that I know our staff, our council gets a request for more community events, more community outreach. And I think that's something, at least the past 3 or so years I've been involved, that our city manager's really taken to heart. And, as you can see, we've got the town center car show, Bark in the Park, Kid Fish, summer reading program, the September 11th Memorial, the Veterans Day Memorial, Trunk or Treat, Hometown Christmas. And I gotta tell the city manager that I think it was 2 years ago you started with the fireworks. And I warned you at the time, once you open Pandora's box, they're going to expect it every year. So I probably get a question every week. You're going to have fireworks next year at Hometown Christmas. So just FYI, they're expecting it now. So, but anyway, and as you'll see in a few minutes, the attendance at these events has been on the rise, and that's even with rain, even without rain, be that as it may. So moving on, I want to shout out and give kudos to our finance department. As you can see up here, they've received numerous awards, numerous accolades for excellence. And I want to give a shout out to John Horton over here, the Director of Finance, for all of his efforts. And it's nice having somebody, a fellow CPA who I can speak the lingo with. I'm just messing with you. So anyway, really proud of our finance department. And obviously, I think from a citizen's perspective, I think you can rest assured that they take a very strong interest in being good stewards of taxpayer dollars. So hats off to you guys. Great work. Great work. And just to touch here on our property tax history, over the past 3, 4 years, the tax rate has dropped 7 cents or down 9%. Obviously, the council instituted a senior tax freeze for property owners 65 and over and disabled. And as you can see, our property tax rate in the city of Kennedale is going down. We've gone down in property taxes at the city level relative to other municipalities in Tarrant County over the past 3 years as well. And I wanted to touch on that, but the past several years, at least, we've asked our city manager to lower our property tax rates. And while we've also had critical infrastructure needs, critical personnel needs, and so it's not been an easy thing to do, but your council and city government have done that. I know it wasn't always easy, but I really hats off to them for that. And I know, it probably doesn't get applauded and congratulated enough, but you guys have done a great job handling all that. And I know sitting here through all these budget meetings over the past several years, department heads have had, their wish list. They've had to make tough choices. And I know it's not an easy thing to do, but you guys have done fantastic at it. So thank you again. So just to touch on the general fund revenue analysis here, obviously additional resources from the general fund revenue sources between fiscal year 2022 and the 26 budgets. In addition to our property tax rate going down, the city's also been able to add 8 new personnel. You can see the staff added there. They've also been able to implement a new software for the court, community development, finance, police, and public works. Also been able to purchase new vehicles. And so what you can see here, the thing to take in mind is that your tax dollars, your council, your city government are being more efficient with your tax dollars. And even having to make tough choices, they've still been able to add on and add the software that's made them more efficient, been able to streamline processes and handle issues quicker and faster as well. So here is a chart for our general revenue fund analysis. And what you would want to take out from this is that your property tax rate is less compared to other funding sources. It's getting smaller. I'm probably not saying this right, but property tax is making up a smaller percentage of what's funding our city government. And so in other words, it's taking the burden off of your backs and it's coming from other sources, sales tax being the biggest increase. And, I think one of the biggest complaints we probably get as council, and I think our city government probably does as well, is my property taxes are too high. Well, your council and your city government have addressed that. And this is something that's been trending in the right direction the past several years and something that we would expect to continue. So, and if you have any further questions on all these numbers, I know you look at it and your eyes may haze over. I think Mr. Horton would be glad to answer them. I'm just kidding. So again, here's just a graph of what we talked about. And again, as you can see, general fund revenue, less and less of that is being made from property taxes and coming from other revenue sources. So. Additionally, some of the bonds in recent years. So remember, your property tax rate has dropped. Also, while this 17 million combined tax and revenue CO series, which obviously has helped address our sewer problem, our infrastructure's been outdated, and that is being addressed. Your council has addressed that, is in the process of addressing that. The Hillside Sanitary Sewer Project upgrade, the Eden Road repaving, and renovating 2 water tower storage tanks. And then also we had the 10.8 million combined tax and revenue CO Series 2024 police station remodel that's been completed, fire station remodel that's in the works and is set to open, I believe, June 1st. And obviously the Sweeney Height repaving, Eden Road repaving, and the New Hope Road repaving. And then finally here, just to touch on the general obligation bond that was voted on by our citizens, the Sonora Park ball field reconstruction for roughly $3 million. And your council is currently working with Speed Fabcrete and the architect, what's the architect? I can't remember the architect name on a design. We'll show that in just a bit to get the ball fields up and running. And that's something that our community has really wanted. I mean, for years, I think, honestly. So really happy to see that come to fruition over the next couple of years. Um, and again, the 3 million GO bond here, obviously Sonora Park ball field reconstruction. You can just kind of see. I think some of those funds have already been utilized to kind of upgrade the playground equipment there. And we've got some seating shades, safety gate, and lights. And then obviously used for Rogers Park as well, some safety lights and a basketball court. So, and the next slide, I believe, shows you a rendering of what the Sonora Park Sports Complex will look like. You can see the two soccer fields, the two baseball fields, and really excited for that. I know your council and city manager, city staff have worked really hard with Speed Fabcrete on that, and it's going to be exciting when that's all completed. And you can even see I don't know if you can see up at the top, little walkway with the nice Kennedale, City of Kennedale logo on it. So really excited for all of that as well. And actually, there's a better picture of it right here. And you kind of see the front elevation of the walkway there, as well as you can see concession storage, equipment storage, and then the men's and women's rooms. So. Moving on, I want to touch on some of our development agreements. Our council has asked our city manager to be creative and drawing business into the city of Kennedale. And he's done that. The city government has done that. We've got development agreements with Quick Roofing, Southwest Ambulance, Comfort Hotel, the retail at 600 West Kennedale Parkway, which you can see below, True Hotel by Hilton, and the YMCA. And basically, it's you give these companies incentives as other cities do to come in and operate in your city. Whether that may be tax benefits, tax breaks, et cetera. But it's really proud of our council, really proud of our city manager for being proactive in doing that. And you can see, just some of that coming to fruition. I expect that will continue in future years as well. And drawing more businesses to Kennedale. And I think that's something that our city manager takes very seriously. I think it's something our council takes very seriously, and would certainly look for that to continue. So, also just real quickly, before we move on, the 600 West Kennedale Parkway retail, that's the EDC property that was purchased for development, just FYI. All right, moving on, going to give some kudos and shout outs to our library, senior center. Our library has been recognized, received the Achievement of Excellence in Libraries Award for, I believe, 3 straight years. So congratulations, Elizabeth, very nice work. And as you'll see, the library activity has been trending up over the past 4 years. And, a great credit to our city staff. And, you can see 25, the numbers dropped off, but remember that the library is closed for renovations. So even those high numbers, the number of library visits has continued to go up. Every time I've walked over there, it's really, really nice. Also, electronic material, as you can see, is on the rise. Much to my lament, I like books. I like the feel of a book, but it seems like that's going out of style. Even my kids in school now they bring their Chromebooks home. But be that as it may, electronic materials that are being checked out is on the rise, and I expect that's a trend that will continue. I guess I'll be left back in the Stone Ages, and I'll be one of these guys that reminisce about the good old days when I walked uphill to school in the snow 10 miles every day. Yeah, yeah. New library cards being issued is on the rise, and our library also has a collaborative agreement. I don't know the technical term with the city of Arlington, where Arlington and Mansfield. So really, really neat to be a part of that as well. So. Moving on, library activity, you can see that all program attendance continues to increase. Summer reading program numbers continue to increase. So our youth in the city are taking advantage of the resources available to them, which is obviously a very encouraging sign. And again, just hats off to Elizabeth and everybody. And then this next slide is just kind of a recap of what we've talked about. I do want to highlight the library's received a $50,000 Talker Transformation Grant in 2025. Received $20,000 from Friends of the Library. And you can see received other donations from Atmos, HEB, community fundraisers. So that's really encouraging to see that obviously outside entities are taking notice and donating to a very worthy cause there. So. Moving on to the senior center activity. I believe when City Manager Hull started out, there was like 20 people that were going to the senior center back in 22. Was it 22? 2022. And obviously, as you can see, the number of folks on the rise that are utilizing the senior center continues to increase. Number of lunches that are being consumed continues to increase, as do all senior center activities continue to increase. You see that number rising over the past several years, and obviously expect that number to continue to rise. So, and just again, more activity participants here showing numbers increasing. More and more people are utilizing. Word is getting out, if you will, and this next slide really shows that. So I know this is something that our city staff has worked very hard on, but communications and event coordination. And what this basically, if you can see up in the top left-hand corner, number of views, number of event count versus 242,000 in 2024 versus 254,000 in 2025. So basically what this is showing is that city website traffic is increasing. And the city's making obviously concerted efforts to communicate with folks, and I mean, even using social media, et cetera. So obviously that's very encouraging for our city government here, because I know they've put a lot of hard work into making sure that folks get the message, or notified about events, notified about what have you. And you can see again that number is increasing. So folks are utilizing the information available to them. Communications and event coordination activity. So in 2024, the events were combined and so many participants that they had to be split. You can see that number went from 1,100 to over 1,700, and this would be obviously Bark in the Park and Kid Fish, and so many participants that they had to split them up, obviously. So. Then you can see just the numbers for the car show have increased over the past 3 years. Numbers for trunk or treat have increased, but it did rain pretty bad for trunk or treat. But you can still see the number was over 2,000 folks that attended, and obviously we do anticipate that number of participants will continue to increase. So. And then obviously Hometown Christmas. I know our city manager has really put a lot of effort into that over the years. It's been very well attended, put a lot of work, a lot of hours into that. And you can see the numbers continue to increase. And again, this year it rained. I remember it came a torrential downpour like right before the fireworks were supposed to start, but we still had over 3,300 attend. And again, I would just mention that everybody's going to be expecting the fireworks, so make sure we keep them going on. So, so here, 2025 year in review, just a couple pictures. You can see some of the renovations that were taking place at the library. You can obviously see the new shelving, new furniture, and obviously new electronics, And obviously, more of the changes have made the processes more efficient, more streamlined, and obviously really proud of everything that the library has done. So again, great work, Elizabeth. I know everybody's really proud of everything you've done. So municipal court. And our municipal court has received numerous accolades from the state of Texas for excellence and for their competence. And obviously, you can see some of that up here. Then from a financial perspective, we talked a bit earlier about revenue increasing from other sources instead of property taxes. This would be one of those. And you can see the revenue has increased from our municipal court, safety fines, maybe even some speeding tickets thrown in there. Make sure you're paying attention to your radar, I'll say, right? But anyway, you can see that you can see revenue from other sources increasing over the past several years as well, which again is a good thing because that means less of our city finances are being funded from property taxes. So just some stats here for you. 2025 in review. We've assisted 2,276 customers at the service window. The court received a little over 3,000 calls and made 2,534 calls. Awarded the 2025 TMCEC Traffic Safety Initiative Award. Successfully implemented a new court software system through collaborative multi-departmental efforts that have helped them streamline their efforts, become more efficient. Improve case management and efficiency with upgraded technology, and also the engagement with the community through public safety event, trunk or treat, and national night out. Launched a diversion program to support at-risk individuals and reduce, so I can't even pronounce it. Sorry, my mind is not working. It's late in the day here. Community development. I believe it was September 2024, the city council adopted a new comprehensive plan that also updated our future land use plan, master thoroughfare plan, and parks, recreation, and open space plan were all updated as well. Obviously, the new software that was implemented across several departments, successful implementation of MyGov 5, which again makes city services more efficient, more streamlined, allows for online permitting, code compliance, public work service requests, allows service requests to get worked and paid attention to a lot quicker. And we also have the improved department performance data and tracking developed by our city court administrator, Bertha Vendel, and adapted for department use. So moving on, we're going to talk a little bit about the fire department. And you can see here, help if I moved on, calls for service, total calls for service refer to requests made to the fire department by members of the public for assistance with various issues and emergencies. And you can see fiscal year 2025 calls for service have decreased by almost 12%. So obviously an encouraging sign there. And you can see that kind of highlighted on this next slide as well. And then our mutual aid responses. Mutual aid is obviously a vital component of firefighting and emergency response. And it obviously refers to the practice of sharing resources and personnel between different fire departments, different municipalities around the area, and emergency service organizations, and helps basically just to respond to a larger or more complex incident. And if one city's tied up or whatever, another one can help out. But you can see the numbers given for that. So obviously, very impressive by our fire department. Additionally, I want to bring your attention over the past few years, several new fire department vehicles have been purchased for use, and I think there's plans to purchase a ladder truck in future years. But you can just kind of see some of those highlighted here. So. And then obviously here, the old fire department versus the new. I don't know if anybody's, I mean, I'm sure everybody's probably driven by and seen it. Again, it's getting pretty close to being complete with an anticipated move-in date, June the 1st. And I believe they're going to have an open house, plan to have an open house for the public sometime this summer as well. So I know obviously very excited about getting that done, getting that complete. So. And going to move on to our police department. And you can just kind of take a look at our major crime statistics, a lot of which, obviously you're kind of weighed and impacted by various external factors, but just kind of for your viewing pleasure there. Moving down. And you can kind of see calls for service have decreased over the past few years, business checks increasing, traffic violations kind of up and down, just which is great as long, again, as it's not me that's getting stomped. So just FYI. I have to say there on Collet Sublet, that hill, you come down and it's just sometimes your momentum, you can't help it, right? I mean, it's like there's an officer sitting there, you're like, oh man. But anyway, obviously, moving on, 2025 year in review, obviously the fire, or excuse me, the police station remodeled that took out the old jail. Obviously, you see a drone here. We've got a drone program and 5 new patrol cars. So really exciting times with our police station and police department going on. So moving on to Public Works. And this might be one of my favorite slides here, favorite stats here. Maybe we can give this out to our council, because I think probably one of our big complaints that we always get is, when's my road going to get fixed? Well, you can see over the past several years, we've been pretty busy working on exactly that. So, and I know our city manager bears a lot of complaints on that. So again, great job working on that with the resources available, and something obviously that I know will continue to be looked at in future years, by future councils as well. So. Another thing that is going on, you've probably heard about, is the Little School Road extension, phase 1, obviously extending Little Road across. Ultimately, I think the grand plan is to extend it all the way to Dick Price Road. And the city is working with various other external entities, Tarrant County, the state, the feds, North Texas Council of Government, working on funding, but that's something that would be a big thing for our city to have, obviously open up additional corridor, but also future development, et cetera, et cetera. So your council's working on that, your city government's working on that, and look forward to seeing that project come to fruition and completion. Additionally, public works activities, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but you can see some of some of the water tower rehabilitations. We got the new storage tank over by the high school. Looks nice and sleek there. Actually a dark blue. Looks black, but it's a dark blue, and it highlights all the Kennedale High School state championships. And pretty impressive list of championships there. So you can kind of see the works of our Public Works department. And then obviously here's just a montage of some of our city events. Obviously the thing to keep in mind is just, you can see the crowds, folks attending, a lot of folks attending that. And something that we obviously expect to continue, those numbers to increase in future years. And with that, about done here, but I did want to give a shout out to not only our city officials here who come to work every day, but I think over the past 3 years, there's been 11 council members serve, several mayors, not to mention dozens of folks that have served on boards and committees. So obviously very grateful for everybody donating their time to do that. And with that, anybody have any questions or comments? Going once, going twice. No. Well, again, I do want to thank everybody. I especially want to thank City Manager Hall, and the staff that works here, our department heads, everybody. I mentioned to you, I think it's not only a credit to you and to them, but a credit to the culture that you're creating here. And obviously, thank you guys for all you do. I know that our council's honored to work with you guys, and our citizens are honored to have you. So we're very proud of that, and look forward to continued great things out of you guys. So thank you all, and thanks everybody. Anything else?